What is up, guys? Back in today with another reaction to Apocalypse Hotel, this time with episode 7. Really excited for today. I've been loving this show so far, especially the past few weeks. It's just been amazing. Underrated hidden gem, not just of the season, but I've seen in general in a while, to be honest with you. You don't really hear too many people talking about this show, which is a shame. But yeah, it was a banger last week with the whole kind of Thanos like alien. I'm not really sure what that was about. Some kind of weird ritual, but yeah, looking forward to today. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comment section though. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys do like, and subscribe to the channel if you do want to keep up to date. I wonder if we'll see a cut opening today. Probably not, judging by how we've come into it. But yeah, like I said, this show is just... I would say the closest thing in regards to a hidden gem was... It feels weird to call it this now, but orb on the movements of the earth. I don't think it is a hidden gem now. I think it's just a gem. But when it did start, it definitely was a hidden gem. I didn't even pick up on it. Someone told me to watch it. I was like, oh my god, that was amazing. But yeah, this is not quite as good as Orb, but in that same kind of genre of underspoken about. I think this is an anime original as well, right? Which makes it like even more impressive. You don't get too many great anime originals. Can only really list Code Geass off the top of my head. And even then, the recent kind of season and movies of Code Geass really weren't very good. Wonder Egg Priority had a lot of potential, but that ended up not being very good either. The new files. That's the thing, it's not scientifically proven to work, but considering there's proof now of extraterrestrials, all of those scientific endeavors might be thrown out the drain now with new information and new rules that the UFOs have to abide by and such. So your common sense and logic may not very well not apply now. Perhaps this weird ritual will work. I think that is probably the best idea. Okay. And what would be the point of this? I see. Protection. Good point, to be honest. That has come up a few times recently. The whole worm and the whole of last episode. Do they? Temporarily ignore it. Oh, I'm down. I'm down. Earth's never been one to follow. I've never known of UFOs to our knowledge, but I think it's very human-like to just ignore this. Ignore the rules of space. We are humans. But she is right in essence. We do need some protection because last episode the hotel could have just been absolutely blown away. I've got no doubt that they would try and just rebuild it, but how long would it'd probably take them till the robots themselves have broken down to be rebuilt? And by that point, was there any point in doing so? And ta-da, space people. Oh, the tone is changing. Oh, the time going by. Wow. She was able to mass produce those? That's impressive. Wow, quite ironic considering their introduction. Poop all over the place. I hated those guys during that episode, by the way. I hated all these guys. They redeemed themselves though. Did you make some good points? Oh shit, we just radicalized all of the robots. Oh no. No, they are now the. I mean, I know she's like the leader, but they are now the majority. So what's going to go down here? No, this is very political. Mm. Might have gone a bit too far with that one. Yeah, that's the thing. She's doing this out of a good place and a good thought, but again, I kind of agree. But yeah, you can understand why this shouldn't be allowed. Again, I do agree. I'm not sure how much I agree now. I do think about it. I think they should be able to protect themselves. But there's just like something, I don't know. If you're a good person, why do you need? I don't know. I don't know. It's like I agree with it, but I know there's something wrong with it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. But something just feels like I slightly immoral about it, even though essentially you're just defending yourself from annihilation. The rod of God. The thing is, I think it's one of those things where you don't want to have like it's one of those things to build, but you don't want to have to use, and you don't want to have to see in action. Like you want to see it in action, but you don't want to have to use it. And maybe it's just like again one of those human things of people being again maybe radicalizing, and maybe someone starts thinking, do you know what, we should use this to gain even more kind of space, and yeah, I don't know. Just like nukes, for example, I think they're a self defense mechanism, but they're now used as bargaining tools and to scare other countries and such, and they've deviated from what they intended them to be. I haven't watched Oppenheimer, but I need to watch it. I think that probably covers some really interesting stuff in that regard. If he probably thought he was doing something good, but it ended up being the ultimate kind of killing tool. It was meant to protect people. Like I said, I haven't watched that movie, but I really need to. The thing is, it's like a 3 hour movie, so it's hard to get around to something like that. Is that Sailor Moon? Onko still going. Bless her. I suppose she feels very responsible for this. So. Look at those calculations. Jesus. Jesus. Like I said, we've got to hope we don't have to use this. I've got a feeling now though this might end up coming up maybe like the last episode of the season or something. This is a lot better than a hot spring, isn't it? Oh shit, temporarily closed. That's a big deal. Oh, is she? Oh, is she going up there now to set it up? Is that what? I assumed that they were talking about there. Ultimately, if it came down to using it, they'd have to send her up to use it, but they have to send her up to set it up. Okay. Hopefully, nothing goes wrong then. To go dressed like that. Hmm. That would be a terrible thing to do, to be honest. To program a robot with the emotion of fear. I think it's a very, very iffy subject, importing any kind of thing like that into a robot, an AI. So I think that might inevitably happen, which is scary. But okay, it's going well so far. How's she getting back? Is a question I have. Something's got to go wrong here, right? I hope it doesn't, but it's going a bit too well, isn't it? Fuck is that? Really? A solar flare? What just happened? I'm really not good at my science. Oh shit. Oh crap! So I've never watched many movies about space either. I think I've watched one with Bruce Willis in when I was like a kid, but I've never seen like Interstellar. I think it is. I need to watch that as well. Like I said, just a long movie, so hard to find time. Self destruct. Oh my god! Damn, that's quite sad. Honestly, oh, it looks like we're not getting the ending today. But yeah, there might be some references to movies like that that I just haven't watched. To be honest with you, I think I mentioned this in a few of my videos. I was never a massive fan of sci-fi growing up. I never really cared about Star Wars or anything sci-fi. To be honest with you, until I became an adult, where I started getting quite interested in like AI and the politics of it, especially with things like Alien, the androids. I've always found really interesting, but I was never a massive fan of it, hence I didn't watch a lot of movies like The Martian, Interstellar, and stuff like that growing up, which I will do as an adult at some point because I've actually become quite a fan of the sci-fi genre, especially through anime. One of my favorite genres in anime, even though there's not too much in that genre that I've watched, but things like Steins Gate and so on, if you want to call that sci-fi. But this is honestly quite sad. The fact that I mean, these extra missions are totally kind of crazy in the first place. The fact that they would foretell some of these events happening. This one a bit more understandable actually. This one's actually quite believable, I think. But it's just sad to think about the fact that it was probably a reward for that was probably self destruction because the isolation of space. I imagine being isolated in space by yourself like this, just endlessly kind of wandering like a rock, and then your only kind of salvation being to self destruct yourself is kind of again sad, but it's almost like a mercy kind of ability gained, which like I said is quite sad to think about actually. At least they accounted for that, which is quite nice. And they won't just let her wander for eternity, but surely she's not gonna blow herself up, right? I think there was a thing that happens like this in one of those movies I did mention where someone gets like cut off a line and they got like work their way back or something along those lines. I think I've seen like a scene of it, but as I said, I never watched the movie. And we're just ending there. Okay, another good episode. Another good episode. Quite crazy how smart these Tanuki people are, isn't it? They can just create a satellite like this and just send it into space within such a short period of time. It took humans so long to achieve that. Just kind of shows you what would happen if us humans did come into contact with extraterrestrial life forms. How quickly would things improve, and if they did work with us, that is, how quick would we actually evolve? I think this next episode is probably going to be the first kind of two-part like episode which we haven't had. This all been quite episodic, and it's funny because when I think about episodic things, I don't ever think of they're my favorite. But when I do actually look at it, like JoJo's, Natsume, Yujin Cho, which I'm watching in a minute, episodic shows are actually some of my favorites. When I kind of actually take a big look at my collection of anime I've watched. So this should be Show Shimin series, another series that's airing recently, which has had a massive arc, like 6 or 7 episodes in this season. But in the first season, it was just episodic, and I like both. Don't get me wrong, but I'm actually quite a big fan of the episodic nature of shows. So it should be interesting, kind of following this up next week. I do think, in terms of that, it's always like the negative of it not being episodic is the fact that one, it's not the first part or the first half or the first quarter is usually quite slow, kind of setting things up, and that's and then the second episode is usually one of the best episodes of like the series because it's a lot of payoffs and such. So it's the only exception I've ever seen to that. I've mentioned this countless times is Avengers: Infinity War. I much preferred I forget the name of it now, but the yeah, it is Infinity War. I much preferred Infinity War to Endgame. I just I don't know what it was about Endgame. I just absolutely loved the setup in the first half, and then didn't really enjoy Endgame all too much. But yeah, like I said, that's pretty much like the only exception. Do let me know what you guys thought about this episode though down in the comment section. Like I said, interesting episode today. Again, lots of kind of setup and unfortunate moment at the end there with getting stuck in space. I don't, I'm not sure what we can do. I've got Oh, I know now. I imagine the Tanaki people are probably going to fix up that, because she said that they could fix up their ship at any time. They're probably going to fix up their ship and maybe try and find her out in space. I'm not sure how fruitful that's going to be, because space is a massive place. So hopefully they do find her. But yeah, it's just come to me now that that's probably what we're going to see next week. Again, though, do let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys would like, and subscribe to the channel if you do want to keep up to date. And I'll see you guys with episode 8.